You arrive home after a day filled with heavy traffic, urgent emails, and the constant worry of keeping your glucose levels in check. Even before you drop your keys, the beep from the monitor in your pocket reminds you that it has been 3 hours since your last snack. The refrigerator emits a soft hum of cold light as the door opens to reveal 2 options: the expensive, sugar-free cookies and a handful of forgotten kiwis in the vegetable drawer. Your hand hesitates as common wisdom insists that fruit is dangerous. After all, sugar is sugar. However, science does not endorse such simplistic shortcuts. Some fruits act in the body like fog lights, illuminating the path without blinding, guiding each cell down a safer road. To understand why, it helps to visualize what happens right after the first bite. Each chewed carbohydrate begins to break down in the mouth, but it is in the small intestine that the game is truly played. There, enzymes transform starches and fructose into glucose molecules ready to enter the bloodstream. If the food arrives without fiber, a typical scenario for an ultra-processed, fit cookie, the glucose passes the metabolic customs in a matter of minutes, causing a post-meal spike that shoots up like a rocket. When soluble fiber is present, this entry feels like a line at the bank during lunch hour. Slow, controlled, almost boring, and that's excellent for your eyes, kidneys, and nerves. This is where the glycemic index comes into play. It does not measure the amount of carbohydrate, but rather its speed. On a scale from 0, water, to 100, pure glucose, foods that score less than 55 are considered slow digesters. They gradually raise glucose levels and allow the pancreas to release insulin calmly, without sharp spikes. Research from the University of Sydney compared groups of type 2 diabetics who followed isocaloric diets over 12 weeks. Those who prioritized low glycemic index fruits reduced their hemoglobin A1C by up to 9/10 of a point, all without adding medications. But why do fruits achieve this feat when so many sugar-free labels fail? Because nature packages fructose in structures rich in pectin, lignin, and water. These fibers form a viscous gel that slows not only glucose absorption, but also the passage of food, prolonging satiety. Additionally, antioxidants like quercetin, naringenin, and anthocyanins protect blood vessel walls from microinflammations that over the years lead to hypertension and neuropathy. When you swap processed desserts for fresh fruit, you are not merely satisfying a craving, you are making a high-return biochemical investment. To put theory into practice, you must sharpen your eye at the supermarket. A simple trick is to evaluate texture and color. Firm skins indicate a higher content of insoluble fiber. Dark pigments, like the deep green of kiwi or the ruby red of certain apples, signal a high concentration of phytonutrients. Another tip is to consider seed size. Fruits with tiny seeds and dense pulp tend to offer more nutrition in less volume. Finally, think about convenience. If your routine is busy, choosing fruits that travel well in your bag, apples, kiwis, tangerines, reduces the likelihood of resorting to processed snacks between meetings. Let's start with the kiwi. It may look like a quirky cousin of the peach, with its brown, felt-like skin, but each unit contains about 60 milligrams of vitamin C, 400 milligrams of potassium, and 2 grams of soluble fiber. Its glycemic index hangs around 51. A study conducted by Rutgers University followed 40 adult Americans who replaced their afternoon cookie with 2 kiwis 5 times a week. After 4 weeks, their post-snack glucose spikes dropped by an average of 12 points, and reports of hunger at the end of the day plummeted by nearly 40%. A practical tip: wash well and bite in with the skin on to triple your fiber intake. The strange texture disappears after 2 bites. If the idea of eating furry fruit doesn't appeal to you, the good old apple offers an elegant alternative. Varieties like Honeycrisp, Braeburn, or Gala have enough pectin to turn digestion into a marathon, not a sprint. Harvard researchers followed 70,000 women over 24 years. Those who consumed at least one apple daily saw their risk of developing type 2 diabetes decrease by 18%, even after adjusting for physical activity and BMI. To reap the benefits, keep the skin on. That's where half of the polyphenols that reduce oxidative stress reside. Perhaps you're looking for something more exotic that fits your monthly budget. Guava fits the equation. Found at stores like H-E-B or Publix for under $1 each in season, it has a glycemic index around 44 times the vitamin C of an orange, and almost 7 grams of fiber per cup. Researchers in Texas tested a simple guava leaf tea on 30 pre-diabetic volunteers. After 12 weeks, their fasting glucose dropped by an average of 9%. If the leaves seemed complicated to find, half a chopped guava in Greek yogurt will already boost satiety and save you money. You don't need to memorize every number now, just grasp the logic. Slow digesting fruits add flavor, satiety, and vascular protection in a handy package. If you're still in doubt, try recording your glucose 20 minutes before and 60 minutes after eating a kiwi or an apple with the skin on. This small at-home experiment often speaks louder than any graph. And since current glucometers save readings in apps, you'll have clear data to determine what keeps you within your target range without drama. By separating faith from evidence and paying attention to your own experience, you put into practice a stoic principle. To distinguish what depends on you, food choices, monitoring, discipline, from what is beyond your control, like occasional fluctuations or others' comments. The feeling of autonomy that arises from this is worth every second spent chopping fruit or organizing your bag before leaving home. If this makes sense, it's worth testing tomorrow. Later, log into the app to see what changed. This account will serve not just as personal motivation, but also as a guide for fine-tuning adjustments that save money on consultations and medications. Meanwhile, stay curious. At our next stop, we will explore how to combine these fruits with proteins and good fats to turn quick snacks into real glycemic buffers, without sacrificing time or flavor. Stick around. The answer is often right at the bottom of the fruit bowl. You wake up the next morning determined to give your glucose meter a break. Instead of the quick toast you usually gulp down, you whip up a pot in 3 minutes. Half a cup of unsweetened Greek yogurt, a scoop of pea protein, cubes of guava from the night before, and 3 hand-crushed walnuts. Protein and good fat create a barrier that slows the release of fructose, while the fiber in guava acts like a sponge, releasing glucose slowly. The result is a steady graph that carries you through the morning without that desperate caffeine craving at 11. When office break time rolls around, the old myth resurfaces. Orange is the enemy of diabetics. This reputation typically stems from filtered juice, which concentrates free fructose and discards fiber. Chewing the whole fruit tells a different story. Researchers at California State University followed 60 adults with pre-diabetes. Half ate a navel orange daily, while the other half drank 100 milliliters of juice. 12 weeks later, those who chewed the fruit exhibited peaks 44% lower and a glucose rise that was 20 minutes slower. To replicate this at home, peel the orange over the sink, slice it into rounds, and sprinkle with cinnamon. The spice adds chromium, a mineral that improves insulin sensitivity with no caloric cost. Before lunch, it's worth remembering that it's not enough to talk about the glycemic index. You need to consider glycemic load, which multiplies the GI by net carbohydrates and divides by 100. Half a cup of mango might fit into the plan, but 3 cups will send the load skyrocketing. Some American labels already include the number, but when it's not there, use a free app. This quick calculation transforms your plate into a living spreadsheet, preventing surprises on the monitor. Around 3 in the afternoon, your brain craves something creamy. The answer comes in the form of half a Hass avocado. These are monounsaturated fats that bolster the membranes of beta cells and potassium that combats the sodium retention of medications. In a trial from the Cleveland Clinic, 20 adults with type 2 diabetes swapped energy bars for whole grain bread topped with avocado and pumpkin seeds. 5 weeks later, the average fluctuation during the afternoon had dropped to less than 20 milligrams per deciliter, and emotional hunger decreased by almost half. Try at home with a pinch of smoked paprika. Besides adding flavor, the pigment capsaicin helps modulate insulin. When evening brings the scent of pizza ads, open the freezer and pull out a bag of dark cherries without syrup. The ruby hue reveals anthocyanins that activate genes linked to efficient insulin production. USDA researchers gave volunteers a cup of cherries a day during the winter. After 12 weeks, their hemoglobin A1C dropped by 4/10, and their cravings for refined carbohydrates after dinner receded. Apply the strategy by dividing portions into 100-gram containers. 10 seconds in the microwave transforms the snack into a nearly gourmet dessert. Half an hour before bed, half a pink grapefruit closes the cycle. Its mild bitterness comes from naringenin, a flavonoid that convinces the liver to burn stored glycogen. In a double-blind study from the University of Arizona, volunteers who adopted this habit before dinner improved their insulin sensitivity by 13% over 40 days. If the taste is unfamiliar, grill the slices for 2 minutes and finish with cinnamon. The light caramelization tricks the mind craving something sweet. Notice the pattern. The internal dialogue shifts from "I can't" to "which tool serves me now?" Kiwi to kickstart the engine, whole apple during an external meeting, sliced orange post-walk, avocado sustaining long-term projects, cherries as a strategic sweet, grapefruit as a hormonal umbrella before bed. 24 hours of smooth glucose flow without the drama of a punitive diet or a dent in your budget. This sequence strengthens the psychological muscle that Stoics called self-control. When the meter displays serene numbers or those pants fit without effort, motivation ceases to be theoretical. Treasure that achievement. It will come in handy when a colleague offers birthday cake or when you're traveling without a carb-counting app. In the next step, we'll show how to combine these fruits with lean proteins and whole grains to whip up 10-minute meals that fit into the schedule of someone balancing work, family care, and expensive health insurance. For now, open your phone's notes and jot down 2 simple goals for tomorrow. Maybe trying the whole orange and replacing the afternoon cookie with avocado and paprika. Small reminders become shields when hunger tries to take control. Keeping glucose in a smooth jazz rhythm, without jarring solos, requires more than just listing aloud fruits. It demands a full-day choreography. One of the least discussed tricks is the buffering effect of combinations. When Grandma mixed oats with grated apple, she didn't speak of glycemic index or monounsaturated fatty acid, but intuitively united soluble fibers, pectin, and good fats in one spoon. Today, science confirms what kitchen wisdom has long practiced. The synergy between nutrients is as important as the choice of each ingredient in isolation. For instance, at Saturday breakfast, put half a chopped apple and 2 kiwis in a small bowl, top with unsweetened Greek yogurt, sprinkle a spoonful of chia and let it sit while you shower. As you prepare, the chia creates a gel that holds the fructose in line for digestion, the yogurt adds protein that prolongs satiety, and the fruits provide vitamin C that enhances iron absorption from spinach at lunch. A small integrated system working seamlessly without you having to think twice. Planning your grocery shopping with this logic saves time and money. 6 Honeycrisp apples, 7 kiwis, 4 Hass avocados, a bag of navel oranges, half a kilo of frozen cherries, and 3 pink grapefruits cost less than 2 packs of diet cookies at most major US chains. Portion them out as soon as you get home. Wash the fruits, dry them with a paper towel, pack them in reusable silicone bags, and label with the date. The brain loves visual shortcuts. Seeing the kiwi ready to bite makes it much more likely you'll choose it at 4 p.m. instead of the chocolate from your colleague's drawer. Moreover, portioned fruits can serve as school snacks for your children, demonstrating that a diabetic diet isn't a punishment but a family norm. During the week, mix guacamole with lean protein for 10-minute dinners. A lettuce wrap stuffed with shredded chicken, mashed avocado, orange zest, and smoked pepper delivers 30 grams of protein, 12 of fiber, and less than 20 of net carbs, all for about 300 calories. If you want dessert, heat 100 grams of frozen cherries with half a teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa powder. The mix of acidity and bitterness replaces traditional ice cream without pushing the glucose curve. Those who tested this combination in a re-education program in Colorado reported a 60% reduction in nighttime cravings for industrial sweets after 2 weeks. On Friday, when exhaustion threatens to derail planning, baked grapefruit comes into play. Slice the fruit in half, sprinkle with cinnamon, and place under the broiler for 3 minutes. The light caramelization brings an aroma reminiscent of citrus candies, but the actual sugar entering the bloodstream is minimal due to the resistant fiber. While the kitchen fills with this scent, prepare a chamomile tea. The combination lowers cortisol and improves heart rate variability, a marker of metabolic resilience that cardiologists are increasingly monitoring. Recent work from Stanford Medicine showed that participants who adopted nighttime grapefruit 3 times a week reduced their correction insulin units by 13% over 2 months, without altering the rest of their diet. All these choices together strengthen not just the body, but also the sense of internal control. The ancient Stoics taught that freedom begins when we defer impulse and choose according to reason. Every kiwi eaten with its skin instead of a donut, every minute spent portioning fruits on Sunday afternoon, is a small victory that whispers to the brain, "I decide." This message, repeated day after day, reprograms food associations faster than any motivational sermon. And when inevitably a slip occurs, the birthday cake slice, the soda on the road, it will merely be an outlier, not a return to the roller coaster. If at any moment you doubt that these details make a difference, open the Continuous Monitor app and compare the graphs before and after a month. The lines that once resembled jagged sawtooths will start to look like gentle hills. Fewer hypoglycemias mean nights of uninterrupted sleep, less fear of driving long distances, fewer debates about who forgot the emergency snack. It's in that tranquility that energy arises for walking the dog, patience for helping your child with homework, and even the willingness to plan that trip you postponed out of fear of getting out of your routine. Now, if any of these tips lit a bulb for you, or if you have your own trick to tame fructose, share it in the comments. The real-life experience of those living with this is worth more than 100 statistics. And if you'd like to receive other strategies that respect the rhythm of your life without miraculous promises, just tap the subscribe button. It's quietly waiting below. In the meantime, keep your plate colorful, your thoughts serene, and remember, every seemingly small decision is a daily vote for your autonomy.